dark end. It's a full moon. Beautiful night for Theater of the Night. I recall it was a night not too long ago when the vampire Raphael Osiris and his vampire consort Dominique Lazarus graced our presence with an interview. We spoke of many things, as vampires will, and we spent the midnight and on through together. Lo, I had to drive all this night long throughout the tornado-torn landscape to get my vampires off to a wonderful flight away by dawn. I gotta ask this, the fangs. I mean, to my understanding, people that do blood sharing or whatever, they don't do it by going up on your neck and biting you with fangs.
No.
The fangs are absolutely a fashion statement.
Right, absolutely a fashion statement.
They really have nothing to do with fangs that are going to get in your neck and, and eat your blood out, right?
Right.
Okay.
They're not safe or sane, like, blood-letting implements at all.
They don't work.
They don't work.
Like
well, so these work.
They do?
Yeah, well, these are, like, a lot stronger than anything you could possibly think of, like, getting in terms of fangs. These can really rip through almost anything.
Love the fangs. Love the fangs.
But this
silver, this is flashing.
These would create a lot more unnecessary trauma to the, to your donor, in terms of damage to their flesh.
Then what? A razor blade, a straight razor?
Then a straight, or like a safety lancet or a straight razor, or this sterilization equipment, the knowing about human physiology, where to draw blood safely, not to cut too deeply, to have proper precautions set up. At all times, if you're going to partake in this, it's like I cannot stress that anymore. It's not something to perform casually. It's not something to perform, under the influence of drugs, and not have your full awareness around about you when you're doing something like this. Like, accidents can happen. It's the last thing I would want to see anybody who's trying to do this as a spiritual act between themselves. And that may not be sexual even. Like I said, it's sometimes the feeder and the donor have no sexual relationship whatsoever. They could both be married to different peoples, but one is offered themselves up.
The first time that one partakes in this activity, is that what you call crossing over?
That's a line that is crossed, but it's not the only crossing over that can take place. Performing.
What is that a technical term? A vampire's technical term, crossing over? What does it mean?
No, and it's very blurry. Like crossing over the line.
Not a technical term.
But it's like the first time you perform a vampiric ritual, if you're an occultist, would be the crossing over point.
Right. But my understanding was that with this case that I'm studying, Rod Farrell, that he had a crossing over ceremony with the victim's daughter before committing the murders. In other words, the girl was crossed over by Rod. So my understanding was that meant that she had become a vampire.
Okay. That would, if someone mentions that, that's what they're alluding to.
That's what they mean.
That
so, like,
crossed over to become a
if you've never done this before and you're going to now join in the vampire cult or this group or whatever, and you do it for the first time, you're crossing over to being, and then after that you're a vampire?
I don't think that. As there's like, if you're like there's got to be a level of mentoring with any of the types. Like I said, like if the clinical blood feeders, there's no crossing over because they become it. It's something genetically that triggers with them or something like that. They could be said to have crossed over, but like learning how to live with that is an ongoing process. If you're being trained to be a psychic vampire, the first time you attempt a psychic feeding, it's not, you haven't crossed over, you've dabbled, you've attempted it, maybe you've succeeded in doing it, but you aren't like really a vampire until you've gone further into understanding yourself and your being. And if you're practicing blood feeding or bloodletting, just the first time you cut somebody or share their blood is simply a base physical act at that point. You have to continue to explore that before you can say, like, I am a vampire, because maybe we'll cut, bleed. I mean, if I accidentally, suck someone's finger because they got cut. And I was like, oh my God, are you okay, or something like that.
Yeah.
And just, you know, which people do when they're growing up.
Yeah.
If that happened at 6 or 7, or if you sucked on your friend's scab, did that make you a vampire? Was that you're crossing over? And I would say no, but some people refer to their crossing over. Oh, it happened when I was 6 or 7 when I first drank someone's blood.
I
But
see.
I don't. That's not my definition.
It happened
of
in their own
crossing over.
mind.
Right. That's not my definition of crossing over. You know,
Okay.
it's when. I think it's when you could really examine yourself and say that you're a vampire of any of the different, you know, types that may be out there.
Well, Ralph, I must say that it's been very interesting talking with you, and I've got to say that I learned quite a lot about vampires that I did not know.
Okay.
And that vampires can be very nice people, and can even have fun, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you could even bring a vampire home with you and feel perfectly safe.
But be careful with anybody.
Okay. All right. It sounds good. Thank you very much. And Theater of the Night is finished convening for tonight. Raphael Osiris, our guest, and Dominique. Enigmatic presence. That's right. Thank you very much.